Oh, I'm not even in focus. Why am I not in focus? Come on, camera. Hello. Okay, so today's destined to be one of those strange days. There you go. Thank you very much, camera. What a strange way to start the broadcast today. I started the broadcast and everything seemed to be going fine, and then everything froze and I restarted the program. But here we are. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at what's going on in Puerto Vallarta, what's going on in our country, in our state, what's going on with your lives, and how we can combine all this knowledge so that we can have a better time here in Puerto Vallarta. More connections with each other, more connections with the destination. Once again, if you notice that the beginning of the broadcast was a little wonky, it's because we were interrupted briefly, but I think we are here. Oh my God, Christoph is here, and I forgot to upload your details, Christoph. But I'm going to talk about, please remind me, Christoph, before I forget, Chris, remind me of the date of your wine tasting, because I know that you have a wine tasting coming up and you still have some spaces available. If you can put that in the comments, I would very much appreciate that, so that we can remind anyone looking to attend a wine tasting at the Secret Wine Bar, there are some spaces still available. So here we are, and as always, we welcome everyone on this Friday the 20th. It is Friday, and it is a good thing because it's been a busy week. At least for me, but I'm glad that it's all coming down or winding down. We welcome everyone, but we welcome in particular those of you that are watching live for the first time. If that is your case, please add the word new to your comment and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If there's something really important that you want to bring up, please add a capital letter Q and we'll be so very happy to do that. Today we have some news. Most news that we have today have to do with comments and reactions that are starting to come out as a result of the new smoking laws or the new tobacco laws. We have a couple of other news. And I want to tell you, I'm going to gush again about yet another unforgettable evening of live song and music performed last night by the wonderful belter, Seth Sikes. And we're going to talk about this business about being a belter for those of you that don't know. And I'm going to compel you once again to go to any of the performances that he's doing in town or any performances that have Mark Hartman involved in them. But first, let us dive. There you go. Before we move in very far away into other topics, here is the information for Chris's upcoming wine tasting. It's on Tuesday the 24th and Wednesday the 25th of this coming week at 6 p.m. I'm going to find the details about the wine tasting and I'm going to put them in the show notes if you wish to attend. These are the dates and there you have it. So As always, let's move into our news and we'll take it from there. Well, as I mentioned in the introduction, now members. Oh, hold on, Paco. Put the photograph on. There you go. Members of the Restaurant Chamber Association, or CANIRAC, along with other business chambers, met with local authorities yesterday to express dissatisfaction over the drastic increase on license renewal fees. This is not about tobacco yet, but you may recall that we announced last week that renewing your bar or restaurant operations license was going to be very expensive this year. And now the restaurant communities have spoken up and to express their dissatisfaction. And at the end of the meeting, several interviewees stated that the outcome was favorable, and apparently authorities will review the increase to these fees, which are way over the 7%, which is the national medium. And now, of course, some of the same business chambers at local, state, and national levels have begun to make their opinions public about the new tobacco restrictions that became mandatory this past weekend. The general tenor of their statements is that forbidding smoking in public places undermines the right of both consumers and businesses and ultimately presents economic risks that will affect stores, hotels, and restaurants. Carlos Villaseñor, who oversees the Business Owners Association in Jalisco, known as Coparmex, went as far as saying that 134,000 jobs are at risk due to the new laws. I wonder how they came up with that figure, but that's what he said. Curiously enough, and this is not in the articles, this is just my commentary, I read several articles that express these same sentiments, and nobody seems to be having a conversation about health risks from secondhand smoke or the health benefits of not smoking altogether. A lot of people are also asking, when was this announced? Where did this come from? How are we going to go about dealing with this new law? And this article from Bahía de Banderas saying that they are in diapers or completely unaware of the new tobacco laws might as well apply to Puerto Vallarta as well, because not only is knowledge of the new law not distributed properly among the population, authorities do not have the necessary infrastructure to enforce it. So people have been asking me a lot, so what's going to happen? Are we going to have big changes or small changes? How is this going to be enforced? And nobody seems to know. So apparently we are just going to be on a wait and see position as far as this is concerned. Now, a few days ago, we were also reporting on the large number of properties that have been seized by the Nayarit government that have ties with former Governor Ney Gonzalez. At the last count, it was over 70 properties. Former Governor Gonzalez is missing in action, and he's a wanted man due to all sorts of corruption and illegal appropriation of properties. And surprisingly, the latest property to be seized and shut down is an actual hospital called Hospital Puerto de Hierro in Tepic, which was allegedly acquired illegally by former Governor Gonzalez. And when I mean seized, I mean everyone was evacuated. And how strange is that? You have a patient in intensive care, and all of a sudden, you have to leave the building. What a strange situation. Representatives of the hospital released a statement stating that the health of their patients is, of course, fundamental, but they will work hand in hand with authorities through this awkward procedure. And this is what we have for our main batch of news. Let us now turn over to the weather forecast just to see what we have in store for our weekend. Aha. That cloud looks like a reindeer taking a shit in a subway car. Okay. I haven't looked at the clouds this morning, but if that is what snarky weather says, I suppose that's what's going on out there. What is important to note is it is 24 degrees right now, feels like 25. Humidity is at 62%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 75. Our forecast for today is da 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 da. Partly cloudy through the day with a high of 26 and a low of 17. Then tomorrow, Saturday, will be a partly cloudy day with a high of 27 and a low of 18. And we wrap up the weekend with a clear day with a high of 28 and a low of 18. Yay. Now, moving right along, I have one more headline to dive into before we talk about Seth Sikes' performance last night. I want to tell you that the 8th edition of the popular Ceviche and Aguachile Festival have been announced, or has been announced. And it will take place on Sunday, February 5 at Puerto Mágico, and this is at the Maritime Terminal. 12 restaurants will participate, showcasing the different styles in which you can prepare and enjoy these popular seafood dishes. And now, I want to tell you about yet another unforgettable night of live music, and more so than that, just live performances or performers. Last night, excuse me, I went back to Incanto, which is freezing, by the way. If you go to Incanto and attend a performance at the theater, please bring a shmata or something to cover yourself with, because it's fracking freezing in the theater. I don't know why they keep it that cold, but as long as you bring your own blankie, you are going to be fine. Last night, as I mentioned, I went to see the performance by the wonderful Seth Sikes. He was doing his debut or his opening night for his Mostly Streisand show. Now, for starters, we need to understand some basic terminology in case you don't know it. So, class, let us review this funny term that is commonly used on the stage, on the Broadway stage, which is belter. Now, the word belter is closely associated with Broadway musical performance, and I looked it up in the dictionary. I found 3 definitions. The first one being an excellent, an event, person, quality, etc., that is admirable, outstanding, or thrilling. A real belt of a match would be an example of that. The second definition is a rousing or spirited popular song that is sung loudly and enthusiastically. And the third one is a person who sings popular songs in a loud or spirited manner. Well, Seth Sikes is all of the above put together in a tight little compact package of a performer, which is absolutely wonderful. There are legendary belters out there, such as the late Ethel Merman, known for her distinctive, powerful voice and for leading roles in musical theater. And of course, there's Judy Garland, known for performing the role of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, and later on in her career for her amazing live performances where she sang and she entertained. She had a series of television specials, and they were absolutely wonderful. Well, performer Seth Sikes has decided to champion their repertoire. And in his opening night last night, for his show titled Mostly Streisand, he went on to tackle the repertoire of Barbra Streisand. Now, you might think for a second, is it only women that are known as belters? And the answer is no. There are many male belters in the Broadway stage, performing male roles and singing at the top of their lungs, and they do so beautifully. But for whatever reason, and that's his choice, Seth Sikes has chosen to champion the Lady Belters repertoire. And he does it in a wonderful way. He even makes fun about it. Why do I sing the lady songs? Because I love them and because I can, he said last night. Now, to better appreciate what you're in for when you go to a performance by someone like Seth Sikes, it is important to establish some distinctions. There are actors who act. That means they deliver their lines and they move about in whatever way they're directed to do. And then there are actors who perform. And when it comes to singing, there are singers who just open their mouth and musical notes come out of their voices, of their throats, of their instrument. And there are singers that perform. And Seth is a true performer. Now, while he proudly wears this belter um, label, that doesn't mean that the whole concert is loud. There were some very, very beautifully sung, intimate moments last night when he delivers songs like uh, what's his name? Where do you start? Where do you start? It's a beautiful, loving song about a couple that has just stopped being a couple, and where do you start to unravel a relationship that is over? And he did so with such integrity of getting into the performance and using his voice, his body, his face to express the feelings of the songs. I was in tears. I was in tears. And but to summarize Seth Sikes on stage, I can tell you without any doubt that in many, many years of hearing live singing, I have never seen a performer that enjoys himself so much on stage as Seth Sikes. I mean, he just seems to have so much fun. When it's time to hit those high notes, he goes onto his tippy toes as though he's trying to be a little taller. And it was just absolutely wonderful. There were moments that were absolutely dramatic. There were very funny moments during the performance. There was comedy. It was just a perfect performance and a wonderful reminder, once again, that Puerto Vallarta is one of those privileged cities, a few around the world, where for whatever reason, could be the gays, could be the weather, but we are so fortunate to have so many star quality performers come to our town and deliver. Of course, Seth was accompanied by the wonderful Mark Hartman on the piano, whom I stopped at the end of the performance and I said to him, "Mark, you are playing so happy." And he didn't get into details and I didn't pry, but he said to me, "Yes, I'm in a very good space in my life." And just the beautiful way in which they deliver this performance was just unforgettable. If you have a chance, go and see Seth perform. He's going to come back to Puerto Vallarta later on in the month, I think, and will perform the Streisand show once again. But in the meantime, there is this other show that he's performing alongside with another new belter named Nicholas King. They're going to be performing songs by Sammy Davis Jr., Anthony Newley, Eddie Gourmet, Liza Minnelli, Judy Garland, and more. And I love the title of this show, of this new show, The New Belters. There is an icon. Oh, you're not even looking at what I'm showing you. Hold on just a second. There it is. There is a video out there of the Judy Garland television show where she has Barbra Streisand, a very, very young Barbra Streisand, as her guest. And wouldn't it happen that they're having a conversation on stage and all of a sudden sitting in the audience is Ethel Merman, who starts belting, and Ethel Merman comes up on stage and it gets introduced to a very young and seemingly nervous Barbra Streisand. And Ethel Merman says, "Ah, yes, she's the new belter." And so I love the reference in the title of this show, The New Belters. This is going to start this coming week at Incanto. We will put the links in the show notes so that you can figure out when this is. Again, I said to Mark Hartman, who will be accompanying them on the piano, he has become this amazing ambassador here in Puerto Vallarta to all these wonderful performers. And I asked Mark, do you get asked a lot by performers, can I make it in Puerto Vallarta? And Mark has become, for better or worse, a wonderful filter, because he is quick to let some people that approach him know whether they would succeed in our city or not. So alongside with Mark, now we can enjoy an increasing number of really, really wonderful performers in our city. And how lucky are we to be able to do that? Before we leave, I want to once again remind you of my upcoming Adventures in Vernacular Spanish lecture, which will take place this coming Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to celebrate all kinds of quirky things about our Spanish language. And I hope you can join me. 300 pesos, cash only. You can get your tickets at the Vallarta Co-working, at the Joint Co-working Hotel. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I also want to give you the last reminder that we have a meet and greet this evening at Whiskey Kitchen at 6 o'clock. And I can now confirm that the wonderful Amy Armstrong is going to be there to perform for us. I haven't mentioned this publicly or outside of this broadcast because honestly and selfishly, I don't want people to find out that she's performing there for free. I want this to be a special night for a special time for us here at Coffee and Headlines. And I hope you can join us. This is later on today. And now let us take a quick look at your comments just to see what you're up to. Ay, ay, ay. Good mornings here, there, and everywhere. It is always great to read them. Sherry says, meet and greet tonight. You know, I have to commend Sherry because while there are people out there thinking or saying, well, we want a meet and greet while we're in Puerto Vallarta, we want something to happen, etc., etc. And I have to say, Sherry has gone out of her way to reach out to people from the cluster on her own. And she has made some wonderful acquaintances and hopefully friendships with people that she is meeting for the first time in person. And I salute that. Fantastic. Let's see. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy to hear that Pat met Zoe Lewis. And I think that's absolutely wonderful because you ladies have some things in common, and I am sure you're going to love their show. It was absolutely wonderful. Let's see. Pudding, boom, boom. Ta-da-ta-ta-ta-ta. Many good mornings. Albert got his ticket for the Spanish class. Mazel tov. That is wonderful. Let's see what else. Mark, I'm sorry to hear that you had cataract surgery yesterday, but I hope you're going to be on them. And once again, we were interrupted. How truly bizarre. And because we were interrupted, how weird. Let's see. I was looking at your comments. Let's see. Got my tickets for the Spanish class. We went through that. Glad you fixed the focus. We went through that. Who is designated to enforce the smoking ban? Well, in theory or in practice? Well, you know, the same people that go around going to restaurants and businesses inspecting that everything is in order, I think, are the entities that are in charge of enforcing the smoking ban. The question is, do they know how to enforce it? And that is the problem that everybody seems to be thinking about. Spencer says, I appreciate if you remind me of the place you went to a little back, the Rancho location that was several natural pools by the river. That would be Rancho Mi Abuelo. Oh no, Dan is still testing positive for COVID. And it will skip the meet and greet. That is unfortunate, but I understand how you are feeling, and I appreciate your choice of staying home, although I regret the fact that I won't be able to see you. You and Kathy continue to take good care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll get together sometime soon. Lots of comments about the smoking ban. Yes. Yes, nobody's enforcing the new law. This doesn't surprise me. Barbara says, looking forward to meet and greet tonight. That is absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else. Sherry says, I love Judy Garland and her daughter Liza Minnelli. Well, Sherry, if you get a chance to see Seth perform live while you're here, you are going to be in for a treat. Da, 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 da. Ashley, another musician. We're going to meet in person. Yes, I look forward tonight to that. There's another question here. Can we buy tickets at the door for the vernacular class? Yes. Tickets are available at the door. You don't need to get them ahead of time. Just know that the space is small, so the event is limited to 30 tickets. I hope we do well. Let's see what else we have. Oh, yes. Don't forget what Mark told us last night, that he prepared Seth's program in like 2 days. When he said that, it made my jaw drop. Of course, our friend Mateo Schubring, is visiting from Mexico City. He's a very well regarded viola player, and he performs in several ensembles. He's a viola teacher in Mexico City, and he's performing a lot of albums. He's a sought after musician for recordings. And yes, we talked to Mark Hartman last night about how he went about playing the very complex arrangements that Seth put in front of him to play. And Seth performs in New York, usually with a small band. And in fact, I'll have a video to share with you from YouTube of Seth performing in Studio 54 in, I believe it was Studio 54 in New York City. And Mark Hartman was telling us that he just got a hold of the scores yesterday, so the day before, so he literally had to learn the music overnight, and he delivered beautifully, beautifully. Let's see what else. There is a latency problem with your sound sync. That's good to know, Scott. Unfortunately, there's very little I can do about that. And I'm sorry to read that. It was a weird broadcast today, but I think we are done. I thank you, as always, for enduring the glitches, which are, of course, beyond my control. And I thank you for joining us for yet another Coffee and Headlines. If you are going to join us this afternoon, I look forward to that. I only hope that you can take a little bit of time going into the Facebook invite and confirming your attendance so that the restaurant can be better prepared. And of course, if you're not going to be there, I'll see you again tomorrow morning with our wrap of the comments that you kindly shared with me around the survey, the topics survey that we deployed early this week. So have a good time. I hope I'll see you tonight. And if not, I hope I will see you soon.